Hello my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to my latest review, where today I review the very popular video game, The Last of Us. This game was released in 2013 and then later remastered for the PS4 and was produced by Naughty Dog. So Naughty Dog, these are the people that produced the Uncharted games, which I have already reviewed, so this is a very different type of game, so let's just dive right in, shall we? The story of this game is as follows. In a hostile post-pandemic world, Joel and Ellie, brought together by desperate circumstances, must rely on each other to survive a brutal journey across what remains of the United States. That's your basic premise of The Last of Us. So, The Last of Us, wow, this is a phenomenal game. It really is. Believe the hype. If you haven't played this game, you really should. It is phenomenal. I am addicted to this game. I've played it at least about 4 or 5 times in my life now. It is so good. I didn't actually play the game straight away when it came out. It took me a while to actually buy the game. In the end, I actually bought the PS4 version because I have PS4. And it looks 10 times better. I mean, well, the graphics look better, but admittedly there isn't any major differences in the gameplay. The only difference between the PS3 and the PS4 versions are there's a little side quest called Left Behind, which is like a prequel to Ellie. Like, it shows how Ellie was bitten and how she had her best friend and whatnot. So, yeah, it's nice to have it there, but it's not admittedly that necessary. The story has a really grim, bleak, depressing vibe, and you really do care about these characters and their desperate situation, and I love the post-apocalyptic feeling. I mean, anything with a post-apocalyptic feeling, I am there. The central character, Joel, he is a middle-aged man who lost his daughter, very sadly, before when the pandemic happened, when the outbreak happened. And he's been depressed for quite some time. He's just trying to survive, basically. And when he encounters Ellie, at first he doesn't really want anything to do with her because, of course, she reminds him of his daughter, which doesn't help. I really like Joel as a character, and I think his emotional journey is really good. How he slowly begins to get attached to this little girl who, at first he wanted nothing to do with, but now it gives him a reason to survive and a reason to carry on. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. The story is just beautifully written. We actually play as Joel through most of the game, although we do play as Ellie at various points, but Joel is the central character we take control of, and he's probably the better of the two characters to take control of, but there's not really much difference in terms of the two of them. I think Joel is better at the melee combo. Ellie's not quite as good, but they both do the same things more or less, and it's really sweet, their relationship. Their relationship is very, very sweet the way it's done, and we follow these two for pretty much the entire game, so it's really quite interesting. I also really like Ellie as a character. I think Ellie is awesome. She is a great character. She's a 14-year-old girl. Unlike everyone else, this is the only life she's ever known. She's never known a life before the pandemic, so yeah, and there is something in her blood which makes her immune from getting infected because she was bitten 3 weeks prior to the main event of the story, which we see in the prequel Left Behind. Yeah, she's a really cool character. She's pretty tough, and you know, she swears all the time, and she doesn't let anyone push her around. She's pretty spunky for a scrawny little kid. She kind of just longs to see the world before all this happened. I mean, there are these various moments. Like, there's a moment when she touches some giraffes, and it's just a lovely moment. And when she goes outside for the first time, it's like, to her, it's like, wow, she's seeing another world. I mean, she's always been cooped up, so bless her. Yeah, it's the characters are so strong here. Really, really well done. The gameplay itself is very good. It's quite tricky to get a hand on at first, but when you get used to it, it's fine. The ammo of the weapons is very limited, so make each bullet count, and the game will remind you about that. You also get to have melee weapons, and you get to craft things, and you have to collect loads of random items as you go along, and you can craft health kits, you can craft shivs, you can craft anything to assist you in your survival. Believe me, these supplies are very scarce. There will be times your health will run out quickly, and you will have to use cover quite a lot. Stealth will become your new best friend in this game, because there are moments when you have to take people out stealthily and try not to get caught. And if you press and hold the R1 button, you can focus in, and the game will show you where the enemies are, and you have to very carefully take them down stealthily. It's really fun. It's tense, and but it's really fun. My recommendation would be to play this game in the evening when it's all dark. Close your curtains, turn the lights off. You'll get the best feeling there, because the game is very dark and very scary. I mean, the enemies are pretty scary. I think the clickers are very scary. They just make this sound, and I can't really do it very well, but it's really creepy. It is really creepy, and you can only take them out with a shiv. So, you know, use your supplies carefully. Sometimes it's better to just stealth your way around them and avoid the enemies entirely, but they can be a nightmare. You can shoot them as well, so don't worry, you can shoot them, but they are definitely the scariest. You've got the bloaters as well, which are like the massive versions of the infected, who have been infected for quite some time. You have to use bombs and stuff to kill them, which they can be quite challenging as well. And of course you have the general infected people who just run around, but they're easy to kill. They're not really a problem. There are times when you have to take out, you know, people. There's a really awesome part when Joel uses a sniper, and that can be really fun. That can be great fun. There's another section of the game where Ellie is in a diner being chased by this guy called David, who plans to chop her up and eat her. Like, there've been people in this diner that have been cannibalizing. It's really sick. That particular level, you have to navigate your way around the diner without David finding you, and you have to knife him in the back. It's so tense. It's so tense, but it's so much fun. I love the winter setting of the game. I think the winter setting is my favourite because it just feels like the most post-apocalyptic. You play through different seasons, like autumn, winter, spring, summer, and all of that. So it's really fun. The other characters don't feature as much in the game, but they are there, like Tess, who comes in at the beginning, and then she sadly gets bitten and she dies, and there's also Bill, who loses his partner, which is real sad, and you know, that's kind of a nice touch that they added an LGBT character in there. But throughout all of this, Joel and Ellie are the ones that you are rooting for. I mean, wow. Also the characters of Henry and Sam, and that's really dramatic when Sam turns into an infected and then he dies, and then Henry kills himself, which is really quite powerful. There are some genuinely shocking, powerful moments in this game, and this game's story is just phenomenal. I think the ending of the story is kind of left open to continue. They haven't really resolved too much. In the end, Joel actually lies to Ellie after he rescues her from the hospital from the Fireflies, after he's killed Marlene, because they were about to take her blood and extract her. And then, yeah, the ending is kind of interesting, because we know in the second one that Joel and Ellie, there's going to be some tensions when she finds out the truth. The final lines is like, swear to me on your life that everything you said about the Fireflies was true. And then Joel says, I swear. Yeah, that's an interesting. Joel's actually a southern gentleman. He's from Texas. He's got this really deep voice and this really thick accent. He always talks like this for the entire game. So I really like that, and I think it's a nice touch. I think Troy Baker's performance is really good, and it just adds a kind of roughness and a kind of gruffness to the character. Like we can see how you know, depressed he's become. I really like Joel's accent. I think the fact that they made him southern, like they made him Texan, was really interesting. And you know, he always talks like this for the entire game, makes his character a bit more gruff and rough, and you really just you just feel the kind of the broodiness that he's going through. Like Joel's just kind of emotionally shut off after losing his daughter, and then he does learn to kind of open up and not bury his past. I mean, we do see also Joel's brother Tommy as well. I forgot to mention we see Joel's brother Tommy as well, and Tommy's wife, and then they meet up, and then he tries to give him a picture of his daughter, but Joel initially doesn't want it, and then Ellie steals it. And then in the end, Joel does talk to Ellie about his daughter, and he says, oh, I think you two would have been really good friends and all that. So there's several lovely, heartfelt moments. The game's emotion is just enrapturing. The fact that you can play through this is just amazing, it really is. Also, you can ride on horses. The horse riding is fine. I mean, you don't do it that much, but when you do, it's pretty fun. Sometimes the reloading of the guns can be very slow. That would be my one nitpick. I think sometimes reloading the guns I do find takes too long. I also think Ellie's melee is really bad. I think when she's trying to knife someone, when she's like swinging the knife around, she gets hit so easily. I know she's a 14-year-old girl, so she's not going to be as strong as Joel, but even so, it just feels like I don't wish I could lose health every time I do that, even if I do hit someone. It's a bit annoying, but it's not anything major. I really like the music for the game as well. The music's really sort of somber and calm. It's very sad. This game is very sad. You got to be in the mood to play it, because it really does. It's really depressing at first, but there are several heartfelt moments to appreciate in the game, and the gameplay, When you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun. It's very unlike Uncharted. Whereas Uncharted was more of an action-adventure series, this is a survival game. There are certain mechanics about this and Uncharted which are very similar, like the picking things up, putting things down, climbing things, and the punching and the whatnot. But the fighting in Uncharted was much more refined because that was an action-adventure game. But that's fine. That's just what it was. I think the direction on this game is superb, and it was directed by the same guys that did Uncharted 4. So, what can I say? It's an absolute masterpiece. It really is. I love The Last of Us, and I will happily play this game many more times, and I can't wait for the second one. I really can't wait for this story to continue. I think it just blew me away. It really is incredible. The game is slow. It is a slow pace, so you've got to stick with it. If you're not a fan of slower games, then you might find this a bit of a drag, but stick with it. It is long, but it's worth playing through. I believe me, it is worth it. So, to conclude this review, on an overall score, I will give this game a 10 out of 10. So thank you very much guys for watching my review of The Last of Us. Please let me know, comment down below, and also have you played the game? If you haven't played the game, do play it, it's really good. And stay tuned for whenever I review the second one, because I would like to review it. It's not out yet, so I'm waiting for it to come out. So when it comes out, I will ask for it, I will get it, and then I will play it, and I will let you know what it's like. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat this one. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews. Until next time, see ya.